I told you that you are gathering resources in Windrose the hard way, that you are wasting a ton of time manually farming these resources, and there's actually a secret mechanic in the game that it doesn't even tell you by default, and unless you happen to look up tips and tricks videos or potentially to explore, you would have no clue that it exists. Let's talk about it. So you're probably like me and you've been gathering resources manually for hours, bro. You've literally chopped down hundreds of trees, probably thousands of trees by this point, and you've literally farmed every single resource you can from every single biome to bring it back to your base, either to farm it or to use it for materials to build other things, right? Well, my friends, that actually stops today. I'm going to show you guys where you can actually buy your own vendors, like actual NPC vendors that you can buy pretty much almost every single resource inside of the game. Alrighty, so heading to good old Tortuga. In Tortuga, we've got 4 different factions, and that introduces 4 vendors. Alright, heading to one of the vendors here, we can see, obviously, based on your reputation level with them, starting off at 0, working your way all the way up to a max level 4 at the time of recording this video, it will allow you to buy different things from their shop. Well, at the very top here, we can see there are a couple contracts. Now, like I said, I myself skipped completely over this. I didn't even read the description, and when I did read the description, it doesn't do a really good job, in my opinion, of explaining what exactly it means or what it does or what they even offer or sell. All right, with that being said, for the Piastre here, you're going to buy these contracts. You then are going to keep them in your inventory, take them back to your base. Now, trust me, it's 100% worth the coin. If you guys are short on coin, not sure how to get it, you can get it from doing quest, side missions, and even ship battles. Ship battles is honestly the easiest and fastest way to get it. If you guys haven't checked out my ship battling video, I'll pop it up here on screen because it's absolutely a game changer. Alrighty, so now once you're back at the base, open up your building menu with those contracts in your inventory, and you'll see in the very top tab for the crafting benches, you scroll all the way to the bottom, and look at this. Now we have 3 different vendor options that we can place. They look like a market bench, if you will. It doesn't matter where you place them. You can build a lovely little marketplace like I have started here on my build, but that is not necessary. Place them down on the ground anywhere you see fit. And now once you've got them placed, go ahead and talk to them, just like you typically would a vendor in Tortuga or any other NPC in the game. Once you talk to them, you'll see all of the wares that you can buy from them. Starting us off with the very first one, and honestly one of the most important ones, and that brings us to the Gathering Resources Merchant. All right, this one is going to have things like wood and stone and fiber, and yes, if you've made it to the second biome and beat the second biome boss, even hardwood. That is right, baby. Hardwood, this one was a pain in the butt. I know they've made some adjustments to the farming for hardwood. The drop rate has been increased a little bit since the last couple of patches, but prior to that, it was an absolute pain to get, and it's still not very fun to gather in the game. So anyways, here you can buy individual crates all the way from 1 to a stack of 10. Now keep in mind that these are not individual pieces of the resource. They are full-on crates, which consist of a stack of the resources. So for instance, if we go ahead and buy 10 crates, this will give us 10 stacks of that desired resource. And the second vendor brings us to Animal Resource Vendor, which again, as you could expect, are going to be the items that drop from killing animals in the different biomes. Now, what's really nice about this is you can get something as simple as meat, you can get something as simple as horns, but you can also even get things like hide, and it doesn't just include the first biome, but the secondary biome as well. So a lot of these higher tier resources that would take you a little bit of time to go to those biomes and, farm them up, killing the animals and stuff to be able to upgrade your gear or boarding ships or whatever it is you're trying to do, it easily makes it available by allowing you to just buy it here from the vendor directly. And lastly, here brings us to the third vendor, which is the food vendor, basically allowing you to buy items that you would typically be able to farm in these biomes to then also be able to buy seeds so then you can plant them at your own base. Not only do you have the ability to get the seeds from gathering the items manually at these biomes, but you can now essentially just buy more seeds that you need to complete your entire farm. Farming in this game is absolutely necessary. It prevents you from having to do a ton of manual gathering and relying on spawn rates and such by being able to control it and grow it at your base. So this one is a huge game changer, especially for people who have seen my fishing video and know all about those lovely lime trees, right? These guys here, you can actually buy the seeds from the vendor, and if you're not aware here, these are necessary to craft craft the best dish in the game, the seafood platter. So now that we understand all three vendors and what they offer for sale, let's talk about how exactly it works. First off, you have to have Piastre, right? You have to have coin in order to buy it from each individual vendor. Secondly, here, you can only place one order at a time, meaning if you happen to buy an order of stone, for instance, and then you decide later on you want to buy an order of hardwood, you can't. You have to wait until that stone order does arrive before you can buy and place another order. Third, here, when it comes to buying resources, you cannot buy every resource in the game. This does not completely eliminate the grinding aspect of the game because you cannot buy things like ores, for instance, whether it's copper in the first biome, iron in the second biome, or the ancient scraps in the third biome. There's also a variety of things in the third biome for sure that you cannot buy. Things like plague wood, for instance, or the bromelade, right, that you can get from the third biome. There's different things that you cannot buy that the game still forces you to go out and farm manually. And lastly here, the items available to purchase from these individual vendors will actually increase after you beat the bosses from each of the individual biomes. Starting off here, if you've beat none of the bosses and you did buy a vendor, it might not have hardly anything for you to buy, but then again, once you start beating the bosses of the individual biomes, more resources will become available. And I know there's a Karen or Jim in the comments right now typing their heart away, man, just about to explain to me how immersion breaking this is and how it just completely ruins the grinding experience in the game and takes away from the core mechanics, you name it, right? And you're probably asking yourself, why would the developers ever let something like this in the game? I can tell you why. Come here just a little bit closer. Because nobody's got the time to grind all of the resources, friend. That's it. There's no other secret. They just don't have enough time. I personally think it is a beautiful blend and balance when it comes to allowing you to buy some resources, right, from these vendors, but then still forcing you to grind other ones. For instance, if you are planning, if you're playing this game die hard, right, like most of us are and have been playing since the game's release, or maybe you're just diving in for the first time, there's a lot to do when it comes to maxing out your gear, right? There's a lot of resources to grind to max out your ship's gear, right? To buy and upgrade your ship to the next available ship, to farm a bunch of Piastre. I mean, there is tons and tons of things to do in this game, and a lot of the in-game items you can't buy from these vendors, so you still have to go out and grind, you still have to gather the ore, you still have to gather the things that actually make a huge difference the higher the level your upgrades go. You yourself don't want to buy these merchants, then absolutely don't, and refrain from using them and forget this video ever existed. I appreciate you clicking on and giving me your view, but at the end of the day here, I think this is a huge game changer when it comes to players diving into the game, especially early game players, would make a massive difference for their resource grind, and especially for players who simply don't even like to grind in these games and want to spend all their time just focusing on the story mode, grinding out what they need to, and then obviously, building their awesome base. And with that being said, if you guys are looking for the best ways to get the most Piastre inside of the game so you can buy all of this stuff, including these awesome merchants, well, check out the video you see here on screen because I will give you guys the best way to win every single ship boarding battle that you'll ever be in here in the game. If you guys enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe here on the channel for more Windrose content. And with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next one.